Welcome back to another episode of Hot Air with me, Joshua Robert. And today's episode is going to hit you right in the feels. You know, I love a good rant about politics and nonsense in the world, but sometimes we need to quiet down and make space for voices that are not always heard. But before we get into that, we got a little bit of housekeeping to do. There are no visuals again for this episode today. Still in that heat wave nation here in San Diego. So I cannot bear the thought again of turning on the lights, closing all the windows, turning a fan off. I will not survive, but I think we're going to go back to regular temperatures next week. And then I'll be back with visuals. So, be back to the normal thing. You can still watch/listen on YouTube if that's where you happen to be or that's where you prefer. It will still be posted there, just no video. And also, I just want to say thank you and let you know how appreciative I am of everyone who has rated the podcast, who has shared the podcast, who has been following on social media, slowly but surely growing. But it is so insanely helpful. I can't explain it enough from a marketing/algorithm standpoint. When you rate a podcast and you leave a written rating, it is going to help my podcast appear in more searches. And slowly but surely, every month, I've been getting about 100 more streams. And, it's kind of sitting around a certain point at this point in time in September, early September 2025, depending on when you're listening to this. And I want to see the podcast keep growing. I want to be able to share the voices from people that are not always heard. I want to keep sharing that LGBTQ plus news. Without those interactions on the podcast apps, the podcast is prevented from being spread to a larger audience. So wherever you're listening right now, just scroll down while you're listening and just tap the 5 stars. Write out a quick little one sentence. Love this podcast. It's wonderful. It helps. And that's all. Okay. That's it for my begging and pleading. We're gonna we're gonna get to why we're actually here. This is the first episode where I am sharing not one, but two listener letters. And honestly, I could not be more excited because they both came at the exact right time. Not only what's happening in the world, but both of these emails that I received came within a week of each other. One is from a newly out trans woman just a year into her transition, navigating the wild world, the beautiful world, but sometimes terrifying reality of living authentically in today's climate. And the other is from a dad, a straight, cis, white dad, no less. Love that he wrote in, who admits that he doesn't fully understand what it means to be trans, but he is standing by his kid every step of the way. And those two stories complement each other, and that's why I want to share them together. I also wanted to share these stories because I know someone listening right now might feel alone or scared or like nobody gets it. And if you hear nothing else today, hear this. You are not alone. There is community out there. There are parents who are trying. There are trans people who are thriving. And yes, there are loudmouth podcasters like me who will never shut the fuck up about it. And I'll always be here to support you. So sit back, grab a tissue, maybe pour yourself a glass of vino, and let's get into some stories that matter. Let's hit it. Listener letter number 1. Hi, I'd like to stay anonymous, but I wanted to share my story because honestly, I think if I had heard something like this when I was younger, I wouldn't have felt so alone. I grew up in this small town just outside of Salt Lake City. It was one of those places where everyone knows everyone and people don't really talk about things like gender or sexuality unless it's in whispers. From the time I was little, I felt wrong, like I was on the outside of my own body looking in. Everyone else seemed to just know how to be themselves, and for me, it felt like I was pretending every single day. Back then, I didn't know what transgender even meant. I didn't have words for what I was feeling. I just knew I didn't fit in the way people expected me to. I'd look in the mirror and think, why does it feel like the person I see is not me? Why do I feel like I'm playing a role that I did not sign up for? It wasn't until high school that something finally clicked. One night, I was watching TV, and for the very first time in my life, I saw a trans woman character. And I just froze. My heart started pounding, and I remember thinking, wait, that's me. That's what I've been feeling all of these years. And it was like suddenly my whole life made sense. I finally had a word. I finally had a way to explain what I could not before. I wasn't a boy who just felt different. I was a girl. I always had been. Telling my family was complicated. They didn't scream, they didn't kick me out, but they also didn't understand. At first, it was a lot of, "Are you sure? Maybe it's just a phase. Maybe you'll change your mind." And hearing that from people I love, well, it hurt. It felt like they were saying they didn't believe me about my own life. But I will say this, they didn't walk away. We kept having conversations. Sometimes they said the wrong thing. Sometimes I cried. Sometimes they cried. It was not perfect, but they showed me that they wanted to try. And that effort, even when messy, meant the world to me. Now, I'm just about a year into my transition, and it's been the hardest, scariest, most beautiful thing I've ever done. There are moments like when someone calls me by my name or when I catch my reflection and actually see her that make me want to cry with relief. It feels like after years of holding my breath, I'm finally breathing. But at the same time, I'm scared. With everything happening politically, especially with Trump and the anti trans rhetoric, it feels like people are gunning for us. I hear people call being trans a mental illness. I see bills trying to erase our healthcare, our rights, our very existence, and I'd be lying if I said it does not terrify me. I think about kids who are like me, sitting in towns like the one I grew up in, feeling what I felt, except without the resources or support that I was lucky enough to have. It breaks my heart and it makes me angry. But here is the thing, I will not back down. I've lived in hiding, I've lived in fear, and living as someone I wasn't nearly killed me. Living as myself is saving me. And I just want to thank you. Your episodes where you speak up for trans people have mattered more than you know. When I hear you unapologetically defending us, it gives me this little boost of courage. Like maybe I'm not as alone in the world as sometimes I might feel. So if anyone listening right now is trans or questioning or scared, I want you to hear this. You are not broken. You are not a phase. You are not less than. You are enough, exactly as you are. And yeah, the world might be loud and cruel sometimes, but your existence is louder and your truth is louder. With love, Anonymous. Ugh, I love that. I have chills all over my body. And I think what's so important about this, the biggest takeaway is that although people don't get it, like me as a gay man, a gay white man, I will never understand what it's like to be trans. I will never get it. Just as much as I will never understand what it is like to be straight or what it's like to be a lesbian or what it's like to be black because I am white as fuck. Hello. So I will never get that stuff. But that is someone else's truth. That is someone else's reality. It is not for me to question. And again, I question. I had like a weird accent there. It's not for me to question. And I always say this, unless you're hurting someone, unless you're murdering someone, unless you're stealing from someone, unless you are committing some type of assault, who gives a flying fuck? Allow everyone to be themselves. And I love that Anonymous had support from the family, even though they said the wrong things at times. They were willing to learn. And that is the biggest thing. That is what is so important. People get so defensive and so scared to make mistakes. And when you ask them to be a better ally or you ask them to step up, they immediately go, well, I've been doing my best. I've been trying. I've been. And they tend to make it all about them. And I love that this person's family was like, okay, I don't get it. We're going to try. We're going to talk about this. We're going to have the conversation so that they can learn, so that they can try to understand. And that is so special and so important. And a lot of people do not have this. And just like Anonymous said, if you're listening and you're questioning or you are trans and you're scared to come out, I can't imagine how terrifying that is. It's scary enough to come out as lesbian or gay, but to completely change your identity so you can be who you are authentically is courageous. And I always say that I look up to trans people because they are the most courageous people of the LGBTQ community, or the most courageous people in the fucking world. Let's be fucking real here. So remember, there will always be someone there to support you. If it's not your family and it's not your friends, you will make new family and you will make new friends that get you and they will have your back. So just keep that in mind if you are struggling. Somebody out there will love you for you and will have your back. You just got to find them. And with that all being said, that leads us right into listener letter number 2. He writes, "Hey Josh, I don't usually write things like this, but I figured if sharing our story helps even one parent or kid feel less alone, then it's worth it. My kid came out as trans a little over 2 years ago. I'll be honest, I did not know how to react at first. I grew up in a world where the word transgender wasn't even in my vocabulary, let alone something I thought would ever touch my family. My first reaction wasn't anger or rejection, but confusion. I didn't know what it meant, what it would look like, or what it would mean for my child's future. I thought, okay, so now what? Do we just dive straight into hormones? Surgery? Is there a step one? I quickly realized this is not some quick fix or a single decision. It is a process, a long process. It's doctors and therapists and lots of waiting. But more than anything, it's conversation after conversation with my kid. Some of those talks are hard, some are beautiful, most are a mix of both. One thing I've learned is that being a parent to a trans kid isn't about me getting it. I'm a straight, cis, white man. I don't know what it feels like to live in a body that doesn't match who you are. And I probably never will. But what I do know is that my kid deserves to feel safe, loved, and supported as they figure out who they are. That's my job. Not to fully understand, but to stand beside them anyway. School has been rough. Some teachers try, some don't. Some kids are kind, a lot are cruel. There are days my kid comes home with their head down, not wanting to talk. And there are nights I hear them crying in the room because of something someone said in the hallway. That part breaks me. I can't shield them from the world, but I can be the soft space they land when the world gets too sharp. Oof, hits hits the heart there. I won't pretend that I've got this all figured out. I've said the wrong thing more than once. I've asked clumsy questions. I've stumbled over pronouns, but I always circle back and try again because I want my kid to know that even if I mess up, my love for them is never a question. Oof, this one gets me. If there's one thing I'd say to other parents out there, it's this: it's not about you. It's not about whether you understand or whether it makes sense to you. It's about showing up, listening, and walking alongside your kid as they find themselves. You don't have to have the answers. You just have to make sure they never doubt your love. My child is still early in their journey, and yes, I'm scared sometimes. The world feels harsh and loud, especially right now. But I'd rather be scared with them than have them face it all alone. And I know, deep down, that with the love and support they deserve, they're going to make it through. Thanks for giving parents like me a place to share this. From a dad just trying his best. Woof. Okay, deep breath. That it's so like I've read these before, but then reading them like back to back like this is like I feel like I'm reading the child's letter and then reading the dad's letter. As far as I'm aware, they have zero relation. Um, And yeah, so it's really the same message here from this second letter is just stand by the person, whatever it is. Just like you might stand by your friend going through a breakup. Just like you might stand by your friend, well, maybe they got a DUI and, they're going through some shit. Obviously, that does not compare to being transgender or coming out as gay or coming out at all. But like, if you're going to stand by people when they need you the most, you should stand by them no matter what, right? So stand by the people that come out to you. Support your children, support your brothers, support your sister, support your parents, anyone who needs your help. If you really care about them, you don't have to understand. You don't have to agree. You can mess up, as I keep saying. Like this dad just said, he makes mistakes. He stumbles over pronouns. I have people come up to me all the time that are like, ooh, but what if I say this? Or what if I forget their pronouns? Like I made a reel the other day about a non-binary person and I kept saying she. And then I went back and was like, oh, shoot, I wasn't saying that correctly. So then, luckily I redid it. I had the time to redo it. But like, yeah, I still mess up. So if I'm messing up, someone who's out here preaching about LGBTQ plus rights still makes mistakes. It is okay for everyone to fuck up a little bit sometimes, as long as you acknowledge it and then you turn it around and you come back at it and you try to do better. That is what matters the most. Another takeaway or another similarity, I suppose, from both of these is both of these people that wrote in saying how scary it is out there right now. And it is terrifying. And it's also good to know that these people are not alone. There is a huge community around the globe that is scared right now, but is sticking together. So, moral of the story is stay open, communicate, ask questions, fuck up if you do, apologize for it, take note, and revisit it with a clear head. If you put too much stress on yourself, too much pressure on yourself, it's not going to be fun. And again, it's not about you. It is not about you. It is about understanding the person that needs your support. And lordy, those stories got me. And that is exactly why I wanted to start sharing listener letters here on Hot Air, because real life, real voices, and real experiences, that's what makes our community stronger. So, whether it's a coming out story, a parent learning how to support their kid, or just a small moment of unexpected allyship, I want to hear it all. These are the stories that remind us why visibility and compassion matter. If you've got a story to tell, I would love to share it on the pod. You can head over to my website, hotairwithjoshuarobert.com, and you'll see exactly how to send it in. There is a contact page with a form. Drop it there. Write me like you'd write a friend. We'll laugh, we'll cry because we know I love a tear, and we'll make sure that your voice is heard. Also, follow me on Instagram and TikTok at _hotairpod. So until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and remember, the LGBTQ plus community, specifically the trans community, needs you right now. So stand by your trans friends, your trans family, your trans loved ones, and support them as best as you can. And with that, I will see you next Tuesday.